Lady Caitlin, begin the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Finally beautiful. The rains have stopped. And as always, join my best friend in entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today, buddy?
You know, Ray, the geek gods and the sports gods must know that we're back doing the show again because the geek news and the sports news is starting to finally balance out.
Yes.
I love that, we got things like NHL trades happening, but at the same time, Dune is suddenly a really big deal again.
Yes.
Thus proving that nerds are now reigning. So it's a good time right now for the geek nerd culture, right?
Yes.
A lot of things going on. But Ray, we got to start the show.
Yes.
With our non-sponsor of the week. And our non-sponsor of the week, Ray, is a new company that I've created called 20 by 44 Pickleball. All right. We're creating paddles. Here's the paddle right here. Any second now, something might get thrown at me. Boop! There's a ball, Ray. Right out of the way. Pickleball, 20by44.net or 20x44.net. We also make balls right there. That was a good toss, Caitlin. But pickleball sweeping the nation. Very proud of this company, Ray, because we're building community first with a really high quality paddle. I'm not just saying that. It sounds like I'm saying it because it's mine, but a lot of great people involved in this, and I'm lucky to say I'm part of that team. But 20x44.net's the website. 20by44 Life is the brand. Pickleball, Ray. Pickleball. Geeks Who Like Sports. Geeks Who Like Sports. Those of you listening, I was hitting the ball. That's what a dink sounds like. Okay.
I have a surprise non-sponsor of the week.
Okay. Let me put this back in my,
because I know how you are. You would never promote it, but I am going to. Well, not to say you would never promote it, but not here. I have to mention that Lee's book, When Hockey Stops, is now the North American Book Award gold medalist this year.
It is.
You can get it wherever you buy your books. You can get it on Amazon, all those fun places. It is a fantastic book for kids of all ages. It is a must-read if you are a parent, or if you're going to think about becoming a parent, or you have a kid who plays sports, or a kid who does anything. You must read this. You must buy this book. And congratulations, buddy, on your goal.
Thank you. Ray, is there a favorite character that you have in the book, Ray?
Maybe his name is Ray.
There's a character in the book named Ray who loves video games. He just loves them. He loves video games. He's a wily forward, and he's a funny guy. So it's definitely not you.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
No.
Definitely.
Did you like that character?
Too much charisma in that in the
Too much
Ray
charisma. Hey, come on. Is that your favorite character in the book, Ray, or Leon, or somebody else?
Well, I mean, Leon. I mean, obviously the main character, Leon.
Yes.
Leon is
Leon. You can call him whatever you want. It's Leon in Spanish. I'll put it that way.
There we go. Yeah. So, but of course, their line mate Caitlin is also a massive part of the book.
It's like real. Wait, so you got Leon, Michelangelo, also real name is late Logan Wolverine. You got Ray, who's basically loosed on a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then you've got Caitlin, spelled exactly the same way as our producer. Interesting. But yes, go get that. And they're all on the same line together.
They are all on the same line. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Thank you for that, Ray. That was very kind of you. I appreciate it.
And then Leon has some teammates like Travis.
Yep, and some other people, and Casey was a big fan of our show.
Kate, yep.
Is one of the players in that team. A sequel to that book has been greenlit.
Oh,
so Ray, in Marvel speak, Ray will return.
There we go. Right? There we go. But yes, go get the book. It is now a gold medalist North American Book Award. Congratulations, buddy, on that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We strive to make something special there, and I think we did. So I really appreciate that. Here's a Zoa. Wait. There's a Zoa toast for you. It's now the official drink of Heels Everywhere.
And my Dunkings, who are, I guess, the faces of everything now. So there you go. Our other non-sponsors is Zoa and Dunkin', as always.
Right. A Super Bowl commercial done correctly. Amazing.
100%. And then they did the tracksuits. The tracksuits sold out. Like I want a Dunking tracksuit.
It was brilliant. That's something only Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Tom Brady could do with Jennifer Lopez.
Yes,
Amazing.
100%. Yeah, actually, real quick aside. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
Many times.
I finally watched it this week.
You saw Casey Affleck in it.
Casey Affleck was in it, but
Yeah.
also I feel Matt Damon should have gotten a supporting actor nod. I thought Matt Damon was great in that movie.
He was really good in that movie. I don't know why he didn't get a supporting actor nod. Maybe they didn't want to give the movie everything, but he's very convincing as the general. And look, it's I don't trust the Oscars at all anymore. We
No,
probably
the
should make
Academy is full of
Yeah,
morons.
yeah. I mean, he did a great job in that role.
I feel like I'm going to be very honest. I feel like they gave the wrong nominations to the wrong people in the movie. They gave Robert Downey Jr. a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
He deserved that.
He was good, but I felt Damon was better personally.
I think for RDJ, it's a few things. One is that it was so outside what he usually plays. Number one.
Yes.
Number two, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Oppenheimer, kind of. I mean, it's a historical event.
It is it is very steeped in history.
The convincing he had to do to go from basically babyface to heel, it was very hard, in my opinion, to act. And he did it so well. And when he turns at the end of the movie, keeping in mind too, this is a historical drama. To even pull that off in a historical drama is hard.
Right.
But he did it so well, and he really turns dark.
Yes.
And he was a supporting role, not the main role. So I think that nod is for more than just the film.
That's kind of I feel like
they could have done both, though. I mean, they could have done both. It doesn't, no rules.
But yeah, I definitely think that it's one of those where this is more for everything that RDJ has done than just.
I mean, that's look. It's like when Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for The Blind Side. I'm like, that was not her best acting,
right?
But Damon could have done it. Damon's also won an Oscar. So has RDJ, to be fair, multiple times. I mean, Cillian Murphy's the.
To me, I think he should win Best Actor.
Well, the thing is, this is like, people argue about that. I'm like, this is not an exciting story. Like, this is it's an exciting time, and it's a really interesting moment in history.
Sure.
But like the story, when you think about it at base level, it's not exciting. Like, it's not, unless you're like really into physics and quantum physics. Like, it's not exciting. And Nolan made it. Look, when I'm sitting on the edge of my seat for the atomic bomb, the Trinity test explosion, and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we all know what happens. Yeah.
Like, and I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, like, what's going to happen? It's like, you know how hard that is to do, people? Do you know how really hard that is to do, to take something everyone knows about and make it exciting? Like, and then the best part's when the bomb goes off and it's silent, and then you hear the explosion. Everyone in the theater is just, you know how hard that is to do?
Because of the difference between the speed of light and the speed of sound.
Yeah, I will say this, that there's been a lot of Oscar snubs and a lot of missed Oscar wins. To me, the Oscar that should have been won was Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. I think that was one of the most brilliant performances in all of cinema. All right. And they didn't give it to him that year. I even forget who won.
I think the Academy as a collective is
it used to mean something to me, but it doesn't anymore. I think that they have gone way too politically motivated. And I also think that, like you just said it, like there's friend nods. There's, you didn't win last year, win this year. Like I saw The Revenant, and Leonardo DiCaprio was great in that. But I mean, he was.
I don't think that was
not even close. They're like, well, he fought an imaginary bear. I'm like, in Wolf of Wall Street, he fought cocaine in Wall Street. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, like it was just stupid. I mean,
producer Caitlin with the title, "The Academy Deserves Us." We got a few bus riders.
You got a lot of
riders
buses
this
today.
week. So
not even a nice bus, like a Metro bus or like a New Jersey Transit bus.
Yeah,
like something not like a luxury bus. This is like you got killed by one of those buses. Like that's
this is the Santa Monica community bus.
Yeah, that's the one from Speed. Yeah. But no, just last night on the Academy Awards, like I really do wish it meant something, but I've lost a lot of respect for that organization.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that, especially in the digital age, great cinema is great cinema, and Oppenheimer was a fantastic film that I've watched more than once. So it was well done. the whole thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, yeah, Matt Damon could have definitely got a nod, but I think RDJ is going to win that best supporting actor.
I think
I don't know the other nominees, to be fair, but
well, Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, which I loved American Fiction. I also watched that. I thought that was really fun. That was a really fun, poignant, and funny film. But I think that while Sterling K. Brown was great in it, I think that RDJ is probably the front runner for sure.
I mean, again, like you care about that character and then hate that character in the same film.
Sure,
it was just really well done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I also say this: I thought Florence Pugh should have gotten the supporting actress nod over Emily Blunt. Personally,
yeah, I mean, they both could have got it. I mean, like I said, but Emily Blunt wore makeup, so
yeah, I guess that's a big thing in Hollywood nowadays still. So that's why Nicole Kidman has an Academy Award. So at least that's the rumor. But anyway, we got a big show for you, folks. We're kicking things already off. We got the Oscars coming up this week here in LA. It's a big deal here in LA, and we'll do probably a brief. We'll probably touch upon that briefly next week. But we got some football. We got some hockey news. It's the trade deadline's also coming up. We're going to break that down all next week as well. We've got a lot of video game news. Some fun movie rumors as well. But we're going to kick things off. The NFL. We're basically at the beginning of the NFL preseason, off season, really. And there's some interesting things coming out of the ownership meetings. The NFL ownership group, as we knew they would, is pushing for an 18-game schedule. Which of course, more money, more problems. But really just more money. The more problems would be for the players, would be more injuries possibly. But we knew this was possibly coming. So
shorten the preseason.
Well, and that's really what it has to come down to, right? Is we don't need if you're gonna have an 18-game regular season, then do you need a 3-game preseason at this point? So I'm curious to see what this means for the NFL going forward. I, for one, though, would be happier just to get back to an even number, because I always thought it was weird that like one year you have 9 home games, the next year you have 8, and then I think 17 is
look. It's inevitable that they're going to do it. It's just how they do it. I don't want to extend the back end of the season, so I'd say kill another preseason game. Maybe make the argument for preseason games is to see the talent that's going to play. I mean, that's why you have friendlies, and that's why you have guys coming out to your practice facility. You're going to make more money if you eliminate 2 preseason games or 1 more preseason game, turn it to a regular season game. I don't see any arguments to not do it aside from what you said, player injury. But look, man, like you have deeper rosters. I mean, we talked about this. Like you got to find a way to work through that. Yep. But very easy to say, not as easy to do. I'll say that. But
absolutely, for sure. There's the Players Association is going to likely push back, but I do think that at the end of the day, this will happen sooner rather than later.
The other option is, and this is going to be outside the box, is to eliminate another preseason game and create 2 buys during the season.
That's also possible. Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Which I think solves the problem. If you
sure,
you know what I mean?
Of course, then you also run into possibly pushing the Super Bowl back to the end of February. Almost.
I'm saying if you had 2 buys, I don't think they'll do it. But if you had 2 buys, that would solve the problem here. You know what I mean?
It would help a lot of teams, and would help a lot with those injury issues for sure. Other rules, we're talking about possible new kickoff rules, possibly where you'd be kicking off from a little bit deeper, but that nobody would be able to move until the ball is caught by the returner, because they realize now that the kickoff they basically nullified the kickoff, which we knew this was going to happen when they moved it up and they did all this other stuff, and concussions have dropped significantly because of that. But they now realize that basically kickoffs has now become what extra points used to be, which was basically time to go get chips, go to the bathroom, whatever. Like the kickoff doesn't matter anymore because so few teams don't just kick it out the back of the end zone. So they're working on that. Also, special teams coordinators are demanding that onside kicks only be in the 4th quarter, and they have to be declared before being done, which makes it, again, even less exciting, the kickoff, if this were to happen. So interesting. They're trying to fix the kickoffs. This has been an issue the last couple of years. It has become a boring play or a pedestrian play. Lee, what are your thoughts possibly on fixing the kickoffs?
So a few things on the onside kick. I am no way thinking declaring it is a good idea. Part of the purpose of that play is to not declare it.
Yeah.
Although you're not going to get an argument from me about the fourth quarter thing if that's what they think the right way to go, but you have to fix kickoffs to make that happen.
Right.
Look, this is my thought on it. No play or situation in a sport should not matter.
Right.
And kickoffs are, as you said, they're starting not to matter. So it's a problem. So either eliminate it or you're going to have to make it competitive. All right. And I think that's what they're trying to do. But there are very few plays in sports that don't matter. I mean, this has always been my problem with baseball sometimes, is that you can get to a point that things don't matter.
Yeah.
In hockey, the only time you'll see that is if there's a huge lead, the last 10 seconds don't matter.
Yeah.
Right. But in most sports, every play matters.
Sure.
Right. Adversely, this is why you have 55,000 fouls at the end of a basketball game, because every second matters. But I think that I figure something out to make that matter. It's going to break traditionalist rules, and that's okay. Yeah. The game has to evolve.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, last year was the least amount of successful onside kicks, I think, in decades. I think it was like only 3% of onside kicks were successful. They've been doing everything they can to really nullify the kickoff rules. I like the UFL XFL rule where it was you can try an onside kick, or you get a 4th and 10 down. If you get the first down, you keep the ball. If not, the other team takes over right there at that spot.
Yeah.
I think that's a great play. You get the ball at your own 40. You have one chance to get 10 yards, get it to midfield. If you don't, the other team takes over. So about basically where they would if they recovered an onside kick.
Right.
And I think that again plays more into the strategy of the game, the skill of the players. If anything, it makes your skill players even more important, because who do you go to on a 4th and 10? I think that's just one of the things that the UFL, XFL, USFL has did really good the last couple of years, did really well. And
they're not afraid to try. Yeah, so you got it. You cannot have plays that don't matter.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the problem.
So because even the onside kick, it's kind of a foregone conclusion at this point. Again, only 3% I think were successful last year. So
yeah, I've rarely seen them work, and they don't work in meaningful moments. Meaning playoffs or getting into the playoffs. You could still make an argument that the PAT matters. I mean, we've seen teams lose
now that they've moved it back. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's not a foregone conclusion that you're going to make that anymore. Right. So they've saved that. I usually don't leave. I should say in the second half, I usually won't leave a PAT because it's no, I need to see this. You leave right after.
Right.
But and then there's also the thing of if you miss it or you doink or double doink, suddenly your brain starts doing the calculations, right? So that, to me, that's a meaningful play.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, again, look, there was a missed extra point in the Super Bowl this year.
It was huge too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge missed extra point. So
because again, they moved it back 15 yards. A 35-yard field goal isn't a given, especially if there's weather conditions, as compared to a 20-yard field goal. I could make a 20-yard field goal. Barely, but I could.
No, most people could. I don't think people realize how small the uprights get when you start moving back.
Absolutely. No, for sure. NFL free agency is also going to kick off shortly, the next few days, but already a lot of deals are in place. Like you can negotiate with guys ready to use. Mike Evans looks like he's going to stay in Tampa Bay, which is a big deal. And we've got also lots of rumors. Of course, Kirk Cousins possibly going down to the Falcons. There's been rumors about them trading with the Bears for Justin Fields, but that might not happen now. That might fall through. Atlanta going with a defensive-minded coach might be looking to have a more established quarterback. Lots of rumors going around in the NFL. Some guys have been franchise tagged. Saquon Barkley not being franchise tagged by the Giants this year, and now there's rumors that he could go to either the Texans or the Chargers, although the Giants do want to keep him. But as I've said many, many times, if he goes, do not let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, you want him to leave, don't you? That was your thing.
He's injury. He's constantly hurt. He's always hurt. And I don't think even with the massive conflation and inflation of the salary cap this year, I don't think he's worth $12 million a year for the back end of his career. I'm sorry. If the Texans want to give him a 3-year, 2-year, $24 million or 3-year, $36 million deal, goodbye.
Right.
Goodbye. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry to say the running back position isn't what it once was, especially for a running back in his late 20s,
right?
Which Barkley is now at. So, And the other big news, real quick in the NFL, Russell Wilson. Don't know if you heard about this. It's all-time record, $85 million cap hit or dead cap space now because the Broncos said, we're done. We are tired of Russ's cooking. Good luck in free agency. And now he's on the market. Any team that picks him up is only responsible for the league minimum, which I think is just over $1 million for a veteran. So that'll be interesting. Lee, what do you think about Russell Wilson? Does he end up somewhere like Pittsburgh, or does he go to Atlanta or somewhere? Like, he was the guy in Seattle.
Someone will pick him up.
Yeah.
I don't think this guy's washed up. I think he just had a hard time with the team that he was with out there in Denver. So,
yeah.
I mean, look at who needs a quarterback or who needs a veteran backup.
Yeah.
People are going to think I'm crazy. The Commanders might be a destination, among other places. But
Patriots, Pittsburgh. There's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback right now.
Right. It just comes down to how he does in those interviews and where they want to be. I mean, I do know a team in the East Coast that needs a quarterback desperately.
The Jets?
Try again.
The Giants?
Yeah.
I was joking with the Jets. Although who knows what happens with Aaron Rodgers. But the Giants, honestly, I'm being very serious, and I know a lot of folks are going to come at me with this. I thought about this. Yeah. If the for $1 million, I'd rather have Russell Wilson than Daniel Jones. 100%.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you would not do that unless the stuff behind the scenes is that he's a complete asshole and that he's horrible for the team and ruins every team that he's on.
Yeah.
Well, your team's already pretty bad. No offense, right? Like,
no, it's true.
What do you got to lose in that situation? You'll put some butts in the seats.
Well, and here's the other thing. Would you rather, and here's the thing, to your point, again, unless he really is this toxic presence in the locker room, which again,
I don't
seem that way in Seattle.
I don't think he is. I don't get that vibe.
I think, if anything, I think it's the exact opposite. I think to your point, I think he just really didn't have the pieces around him in Denver. I think they really took a swing and a miss with Nathaniel Hackett as the head coach. And then obviously Sean Payton came in, and Sean Payton and Russ just didn't click. And that happens a lot of times. But if anybody can work with Russ, it could probably be Dable. And also, again, going back to New England, going back to Pittsburgh, say one of these guys, they draft a quarterback. New England's going to probably draft a quarterback. Right. The Giants are maybe going to draft a quarterback, but wouldn't it behoove you to have your rookie quarterback sit a year behind somebody like Russell Wilson? Well, definitely more so than Mac Jones or Daniel Jones.
Well, what about DeVito, buddy? No, seriously, look at the Giants. Look at the low bar that's set there in New York right now, where Tommy DeVito is a local hero. Bring in a quarterback.
Yeah.
It is also the perfect place for him to go to kind of revitalize his career. Because if he turns the Giants around with what they have there, his value goes up again.
100%.
For $1 million, why would you not do that?
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, on the reports are Rich Eisen all around the NFL because the combine was this week. The Giants are they kept saying the Giants have quote unquote buyer's remorse.
Right.
It's you gave $160 million. I get only 80 guaranteed, but you gave this to a guy who had 6 good games in his career.
Really weird, really stupid.
It was a real mistake, and I get there might have been pressure from ownership, which is why
it's a head scratcher. No, it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. I don't care. I don't need to be in the back office on that one.
Yeah.
All right. And you know me, I'm usually you don't know what's going on. No, I watched it. I don't understand. What they were doing is hoping the money would improve performance.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work that way.
No.
All right. Even in real life, if you throw more money at me, I'll work hard. No, you won't. The fact you told me that tells me that you won't. Right? You get more money because you're working hard.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just stupid. Also want to give a big shout out to Jason Kelsey, who gave one of the greatest retirement speeches in the history of sports.
Yes.
For 45 minutes. He left it all on the table. He was crying left and right. And every word he said was so well spoken, so well written. It wasn't just I retired him. He really walked everybody through his history and life, talked about what makes football great, what makes America great, what makes family great. And he'll be sorely missed. The Eagles can't replace him in any way. And someone made a good point, about his body is starting. He said he's starting to hurt a little bit more during the weeks. He can't recover as fast. But I think people forget too that he's been nursing brand new quarterbacks for close to a decade now.
Yeah.
Right. He's had to show new. I mean, think about the Super Bowl. I mean, Wentz, and then suddenly he's got Nick Foles, and then he's got Wentz again, and then he's got Jalen Hurts. So that's been a lot on him, I think, too. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Philly at that center position. But I think he might go down as greatest center in history of football.
I mean, he's up there.
Yeah.
He has to be in the conversation, absolutely.
For sure.
Like, I mean, I know for our generation, I'll say this. For our generation, he's definitely the greatest center.
Easily. Yeah. And I'll say this, too. Like, I was actually just having this conversation with our friend of the show, Casey, but we were talking about like greatest Philadelphia athletes or just greatest athletes in sports in terms of likability.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? This is always my gauge. I don't typically wear jerseys, right? Like, so even when I go to Flyers games, I'm not in a jersey. Like, no judgment of anyone who does that. No, but I would get a Kelsey jersey, right? Like I would have that. So like that's from, not that anybody cares, but like that's the ultimate nod for me is like if I have your jersey, like that's a Westbrook jersey behind me. Like he's one of my favorite Eagles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of my jerseys have no name on them, so I would get
the same way.
Yeah, outside the one with my name on it behind me, which now looks.
Well, yes, that's a different story when it's your jersey.
Well, just so everybody knows, again, if you're listening, I have a jersey behind me that says L. Elias with the number 11. That was my 11th birthday present. It's the first hockey jersey I ever had. That's why it's on set here behind me. So that's a constant reminder of just where my roots began. I just also realized my son's going to be 11 in less than a year, which is really terrifying. But that's my first jersey ever. I didn't even know that was an Oilers jersey. There's no logo on the front. I didn't even know there was an Oilers jersey. I thought the colors looked cool. Seriously, like that's how green I was in the hockey space at that time. But yeah, like just an amazing career, amazing human being. Guy lives actually in the same town as me, Ray, and like he does things with the community. I mean, the guy is so authentic as a Philadelphian. It's just we're gonna miss that guy, but I have a feeling that guy won't be too far.
No, for sure. He'll be hanging around the NFL. He'll be hanging around the NFL and doing stuff.
100%. I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing stuff with the Eagles this year. Yeah. Before we move on to the NHL,
yes,
I have a quick MLB thing I want to share.
I
have framed. You will laugh at this. There are not many moments from a season that are not championship seasons that I will frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like when the Eagles won, Phillies want to have a bunch of stuff from that.
Yeah,
but this moment was so iconic to me that I had to frame Bryce Harper staring down Arcia. From the Braves. Again, for those of you not watching this, it's Bryce Harper rounding second base, staring down Arcia. Because this is one of the greatest Philadelphia moments in history.
It is the most Philly thing ever.
It is a pure F around and find out moment.
Yeah.
and it motivated me. It was a very motivating moment for me. So I'll just say this, as a business owner, this is kind of near my desk all the time. And anytime I need a little motivation, I look at Harper staring him down. It's an F around and find out moment. And just very cool. Speaking of great Philly athletes.
Yeah.
But thank you, Harper, for that. That sits on my desk. Along with this one, Ray. Sorry, one more. Look at this. This is only going to happen one time in their lives. My son and my daughter are on the same team together right now, who have won 4 in a row. So that's they have a pretty good coaching staff, I'm told. Anyway, we'll see. They're about to go into the playoffs. But yeah, the baseball moment. But like. Ray, we're recording this. Was it March 6th today?
So it is March 6th, just shy of 3:00 Eastern time. And it is, we were talking about our friend Casey before. Speaking of Casey's, breaking news. We are literally, the trades are coming down fast and heavy as we are recording. Casey Middlestat of the Sabres just traded to the Colorado Avalanche as we speak for defenseman Bowen Byram. And this comes right on the heels of the Avalanche trading for the for the Flyers. Sean Walker for defense. So the Avalanche making a flurry of moves. Yes, a flurry of moves from the Avalanche.
Right.
Here to kick off the last 72 hours of the trade deadline. Now, of course, we're going to break down everything next week. This was supposed to be. This was going to be more of a preview thing, but the NHL GMs were like, "No, we're not waiting. We're not waiting. We're going now."
Deadline. Yep. Yeah. And just for anybody out there that wants to know, the best place to follow the trades is TSN Trade Center, spelled CNTRE. So if you really want to track the NHL trades, look at TSN Trade Center. But yes, I'm seeing that trade come through right now, Ray. That's Colorado's going for a cup. They want another cup right now. And
Middlestat is a great player. He's got 47 points on the year for a mediocre Buffalo team. He's only 25 years old. It's a rental, but who knows? Maybe they try and re-sign him in the offseason, but didn't give up a ton for him. Gave up Bowen Byram as at least right now. And the Flyers, they gave up Sean Walker, which helped shore up. He was probably the next high-ranking defenseman after Tanev got moved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because the Flyers are in an interesting position. You're in playoff positioning right now for the Flyers. Yeah. So I wouldn't say you're like sellers, but you're also not full-blown buyers, especially after
we are buyers for the future. So the Flyers understand that this is probably not the cup year. We're going to get some very valuable playoff experience this year, but they're not built to win just yet. Of course, you never know what's going to happen. So they're building for a cup run in 1 to 2 seasons. They are far closer than anybody thinks that they are.
Yeah.
But look, the win on this trade is they just got a 2025 first round overall pick.
Yes.
In addition to Ryan Johansson, who probably will not play again. So it's just it's a great trade. I mean, look.
Yeah. So
first round picks are more valuable than almost every player in the league.
Yeah.
You can fight me on that. Yeah,
just want to clarify that it is a conditional first round pick.
Yeah,
it's highly unlikely that it won't be a first round pick because the only way it is not a first round pick, it becomes a second round pick, is if for some reason the Colorado Avalanche are in the draft lottery in 2025 and if they have a top 10 pick, Colorado retains the first round pick, becomes a second round pick for the Flyers. But again, highly unlikely that the Avalanche will be in the top 10 or in the bottom 10, I should say.
Yeah,
anytime soon. Just wanted to put that clarification.
No, it's for sure. It's a great trade. It's a great trade all around. Should Johansson even think about playing, I guess they'd let him play, but I think they're going to put him on waivers. The other big trade is the Oilers have picked up Adam Henrique.
That is the deal. The Rangers had their eye on him.
Yep. So that's a big one for the Oilers. Oilers are very hot. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm interested in seeing that. And then again, like throughout the league, I'm looking at these right now. I think the biggest trade today is this Ottawa Senators trade of Tarasenko.
Tarasenko for 2 draft picks to Florida. Yeah, right. They said the Panthers send back a 4th round pick this coming draft and a 3rd round pick the following year, I do believe, for Tarasenko, which gives them another elite possible scorer, gives them depth. Because to me, Rangers we just lost to Florida the other night, but Florida is kind of in a way. They're similarly built to Toronto in that they are more top heavy in terms of their offense, but the difference is that Florida also actually has some defense and a goaltender. That's why Florida's leading the Eastern Conference, and I think the NHL at this point. Florida might be getting the President's Trophy this year.
Florida is surging right now. Yeah.
So
I don't think that they're going to the Cup again, though. That's a hot take.
You know what? It depends on the path they have to take. I think it's going to be. I'm going to say this right now. If the season ends today, it'd be Panthers versus Lightning in the first round. I think they handle the Lightning, but I also think that the Lightning could give them such a fight that it exhausts the Panthers going forward.
The other thing too is that I think the problem for the Panthers in the playoffs is that no one is taking them anything less than serious now.
Yeah,
and I think last year when they were playing Boston, it was an easy win for Boston, and it's like no, it wasn't, but. Now they're on the other end of that, but they are far ahead in the Eastern Conference. I'm looking at this right now. It's as of today have 90 points. They're being trailed by Boston, and they have a game at hand, Florida. So Florida is surging right now, but I believe this is the Rangers' year to go to the Cup. And again, I see a lot of teams here that are possible. The Rangers look really, really good to me. The vibe seems right. You're going to think I'm joking. The only team that I think can knock off the Rangers is the Flyers, and that's only if the Rangers don't take them seriously, right? That like the Flyers are a team that could win a 7-game series if you let them get there, right?
Sure.
But I don't see that happening. I see the Rangers going all the way this year.
I hope you're right.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like you're in a very unique situation where if Shesterkin goes to hell. You have quick step in. It's like you have everything you need. All right. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be you, in my opinion. It's going to be you in Florida or Boston in that conference final.
Yeah.
All right. But this is the Rangers year. I'm saying it now. And on March 6th, we'll go back to this recording when you win and say that Lee was right.
I hope I am so hoping you're right.
Rangers are
I will admit. There definitely is a feeling around the Rangers right now
Yeah.
Where it just, even again, you lose a game, they lost a couple of tough games to Toronto and Florida,
Yeah,
but it just feels like
you're a little lull at the moment, but
right.
you'll get over that.
Yeah.
I think Florida's peaking now. That's why I'm saying it's very easy to look at Florida right now. Oh, that's the Cup team. No, they're peaking now. They're too early.
Yeah. No,
right?
I agree. And I think that the Rangers, I will say this, I do think the Rangers are going to make a move at the deadline. I think it's going to be a smaller move.
Right.
We were talking about this before the show, that I think I would say this, if Blake Wheeler didn't get hurt for the Rangers, I don't think the Rangers would make a move. I think that because Wheeler is now hurt the rest of the year, and again, we talked about this when it happened and possibly ending his career, that the Rangers are either looking for a top-line forward to pair with Kreider and Zibanejad, because it's been kind of a rotating door since, as they're trying to figure out who to take that Wheeler spot, who had finally really started clicking with those guys after about 30 or 40 games. If they can find somebody that can plug in there immediately, they'll go for that. Otherwise, you probably move up like a Jimmy Vesey to that spot, who can play on that top line. And I think more likely is the Rangers are going to look for a bottom six forward that can then play on either the third or fourth line and kind of be like more of one of those two-way forwards to either help a less experienced guy like a Johnny Brodzinski. Obviously, they have the kid Rempe that everybody is behind because he's just fighting everybody every single day.
Stop doing that. That's fun right now, but he needs to stop doing that. Look.
Well, I think Valaket has talked to him about that, and I think he has pulled back a bit.
He has to. He's gonna burn himself out. But
yeah,
look, here's the thing with the Rangers, and this is why I think they're the team, is that the only difference between you and Panthers right now, statistically, is goaltending by, I think, 15 or 20 goals against. And that you can chalk that up to Shesterkin's troubles early on in the season, which are starting to disappear. So I think you're even in that regard. Mm-hmm. With Boston, what people aren't talking about with Boston, it's exciting, but they have 15 overtime losses. Okay, so that's 15 extra points that they have that aren't losses, but like that's a lot of overtime losses. To me, that's not a team that's going to the Cup. Yeah, all right, that's a team that's holding on.
Sure.
Very good team to all the Bruins fans. Don't get me wrong. The Boston Bruins are a fantastic hockey team, but it's not congruent with behavior that I see of teams that win the Cups. Adversely, you and the Panthers only have 4 overtime losses. All right, apiece. Yeah. So, again, this is not counting out Toronto, Philadelphia, Carolina. Like, I'm not trying to ignore those teams. Mm-hmm. I just don't think they're the same level.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Panthers had an insanely short offseason, and they were beat to hell at the end of last season. So, it's the Rangers' year. You got to win right now. That's my opinion.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Panarin's having the best year of his career, right? Like, Kreider's having another great year. He just had his 31st goal the other night. Again, I think that they just need to figure out who's going to be the right wing for Kreider and Zibanejad. Yeah. And again, I think that will happen if they get themselves a bottom 6 forward to flesh out the depth, and also even maybe even 2 bottom 6 forwards. Because again, as much as I like Edstrom and Rempe, the rookies, that's a lot of youth. You're asking you're putting a lot of responsibility on a lot of young guys that I don't know if they're ready for yet.
Right.
Who basically were called up because of injury problems. And by the way, I said Valaket before. I meant Laviolette. Valaket's also said it in Steve Valaket, who of course is the Rangers color guy in the studio on MSG, has also said Rempe needs to stop fighting. But Peter Laviolette is who I meant.
Well, look, here's the other thing too. I'll say this is that Tampa Bay, who may make the playoffs, they are nowhere near locked in right now. A lot surprising.
No, they're the second wild. They're holding on to the second.
They're the 8th seed right now in the East by only a few points. That's a team you have to look out for, because if they get in, they know how to win. Yes. But I'm just not scared by anybody as much as the Rangers right now. And then when you look at the Western Conference, this is a really unique year. There's a lot of teams like nobody realized. I'm looking at it right now. Nobody realizes Dallas is the top team in their division and second overall in the West.
Yeah.
And then like Winnipeg and Vancouver suddenly are top teams. So like the West is super open to me. Edmonton, Colorado, and Vegas are just kind of hanging out in the middle of the pack there. So
that's why Vegas made a move. They traded with Washington to get Mantha.
Right.
Anthony Mantha.
My point is, like, the Western Conference to me is very interesting right now. I can't tell you who's coming out of there, right?
No.
But I can say to you that in the Eastern Conference, I believe the New York Rangers will be representing the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup Final this year.
I mean, I'll say this: like, if the playoffs started today, the Rangers would take on the Red Wings in the first round. And this is no disrespect to Detroit. And again, you never overlook anybody in the playoffs. But again, this is a team that doesn't have the experience of the Rangers. The Rangers, that would actually be very beneficial for the Rangers. I think they roll over to Detroit, and then you take on the winner of Carolina and Philadelphia. Again, two teams obviously Rangers very familiar with for whatever reason. Knock on wood, Rangers always seem to have Carolina's number. And like to your point, Lee, the Flyers are on the rise, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah,
so unless we look past this, I think
here's the issue with the Flyers with you is that the Flyers will beat the shit out of the Rangers whether they win or lose the series. So like you're going to come out of that series injured, right?
That's why it might actually maybe we have Rempe on the fourth.
Right. Well, it's just this is just the Flyers' work ethic. They just work you to death.
Yeah.
So win or lose. So we'll see. Like again, I'm interested to see what happens. Just kind of closing out this NHL segment, but the New York Rangers look like a cup-ready team to me. Anything can happen. I think it's your year. I'm just going to stick by that. Should the Flyers win the cup? I've been saying it all along.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're just ahead of schedule at that point, right? That's all it is.
No, the Flyers are going to have maybe a second-round exit. Right. But it's just going to be an invaluable experience. And I think those guys need to feel that loss to learn how to win. They work hard enough, but in the playoffs, you have to have that and something else. And talent. And I do not believe the Flyers have the top end talent needed to win the Stanley Cup just yet, but they will.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. You guys have a very bright future.
Finally.
Yes. Even though you could probably use a goal. That's a quick question I want to ask. Do you trade for a goalie? Everybody keeps talking about Markstrom being available for trade. Do you trade for a goalie?
If a true number one is available and it's not going to destroy our future, sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, every team would say that. Right. I think it's actually more important that we get like a Jonathan Quick type goalie, a veteran at the end of his career to maybe help out Ersson, because I'm not. Sam Erson's been playing really well. I'm not sold that he's not the guy, right? I think he's showing a lot of promise. And I have seen the Flyers trade away so many guys like Ersson at this point of their career for a big name. Yeah. And one of those guys' names was Sergei Bobrovsky, right? And he's leading a team to another great postseason right now. So I'm on the camp of I'd like to see what Ersson does. Mm-hmm. We don't need that right now. We do need to wait and see. But the problem is there's no one behind Ersson right now that's strong enough. So they're leaning on him too much. So I'd like to see us get a veteran goaltender to put behind him, like Jonathan Quick. Not him. I mean, like I like a guy
like him. Yeah, the Rangers aren't letting – the Rangers just signed Quick to a one-year extension. Quick is going to retire as a New York Ranger.
Yeah, again, I'm not suggesting they get Jonathan Quick. It's just like that's what they need is someone who can teach Ersson, like, here's what you do. Yeah. So we'll see. Like, again, they're not going to sell the future for a goaltender now. We don't need it. Sure. Ersson's playing fine. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. So,
yay, hockey.
By this time next week, Frank Vetrano will be wearing the Rangers Broadway blue again.
Yeah. Well, there's been some time. It won't happen. There's been some rumors about Crosby getting traded to Colorado. I don't think that's going to happen now.
They'd have to give up so much.
Crosby's not leaving Pittsburgh. So it's one of those things, though, like, him and Shane. Geez, yeah, him and why am I blanking on his name? The captain of the Colorado Avalanche is
McKinnon?
Oh no, yes, Nate Mack. Thank you, Nathan McKinnon and Crosby are like best friends. So like that's the only reason I think that happened. But they don't need another center now. So
yeah. Also looks like the Oilers made another move. Real quick, Sam Carrick from the Ducks is going to Edmonton.
Yeah, that was in that trade. That was in that trade.
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Part of the Henry trade. Yeah, I see now. Yeah. First round pick, fifth round pick.
So we'll have more for you next week. There's going to be more of these moves, but NHL trade deadline getting hot on a Wednesday evening.
Yes, was not expecting that. You know who else is red hot right now, at least in terms of scoring, setting records left and right?
Caitlin Clark.
Yes, she is. She has set now. 2 weeks ago, we talked about her setting the women's record. She has now set the all-time NCAA basketball scoring record, both men and women.
Amazing.
She did it on a couple of free throws, showing that, she had the women's record on a beautiful highlight 3 from the logo. This one showing the fundamentals still matter.
Yeah,
as she surpasses Pistol Pete Maravich. His record stood for 54 years for his career. So
let's talk to these idiots out there. Well, yeah, she's playing against girls. No, it isn't just as hard for someone to do this. If anything, it's harder, right? Because all eyes are on her, right? So this is a great record. I would love to give a shout out to humanity right now for recognizing this for what it is the NCAA basketball all-time scorer. Not men's or women's. This is called progress, people. And we do need to recognize it when it happens and not just be outraged all the time and do it. Yeah, but hey, progress. Feel good for 5 minutes and then go to your cave of wonders and let the
even that. I've heard so much this league. So, well, Pistol Pete only played 3 years because freshmen couldn't play back in the day. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is the record. Just because she played more games. And look, I said nobody's ever going to touch Pistol Pete's career average of 44 points a game in college. Like that, again, records are meant to be broken, but yeah, exactly. The game is different now. That record will never
the other point is this, though. It's like, again, I don't like to argue these, but it's like, you think the competition he was going against, you got to keep it all relative. But you think it was the same thing?
In the 70s?
Yeah, I was like, it's a different game.
Yeah, there was still an ABA.
Yeah,
in the pros.
Again, we're not arguing the woman versus male body type argument here. We're talking about equal competition. All is relative. She's broken the record. That's it. And she's got like another dozen games at least to continue to add to it. Yeah, and then the tournament. So it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, no. So congratulations to Caitlin Clark continuing to break records and to be a shining beacon in all sports.
Yeah, she's done it with grace too.
Yes.
Like she's been such a pro about it.
Yeah,
she's a competitor. I mean, she's so cool. I'm rooting for her. And look, I mean, well, hopefully they can get to the championship game again this year.
Yeah,
they came up short last year, but that's really what put her on the map last year. Look, obviously, if you were in college basketball, you've known her name for a long time.
Right.
But I mean,
on the
really
national stage.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year is when people really started talking about her a lot. So it's excellent.
Yeah, she's already declared that after this year, because this is her senior year, she'll go to the WNBA. So
how cool is that?
That will be fantastic. Help grow the game. So that does it for sports. Not a ton of sports topics.
No,
but a lot to talk about on a little bit of sports.
Wait. One more sports story. I just remembered this. I'm sorry. It's a baseball story.
Ooh.
Have you seen the mock-ups of the potential Las Vegas baseball stadium?
Oh God, yes.
They're kind of amazing. Where the top of the stadium is a gigantic screen, and listen, Ray, I look at that, I'm like, that's so excessive and not needed, and totally Vegas.
And that's the thing is that
Vegas thing,
like. I know people have been calling it the Vegas Opera House because it looks a lot like the Sydney Opera House.
It's like if the Sphere had a baby baseball field, this is what it would be.
It's
so excessive.
And I know a lot of other friends like, I remember when baseball stadiums looked like baseball stadiums, and it was
they still do, guys. Don't worry.
Yes, it just. I don't know. I mean, I
it's fantastic and excessive and totally not needed, and the only way Vegas can do baseball.
Absolutely. Yes, I'll agree with that. It's the only way Vegas can do baseball. I'm curious. I want to see what happens. That's still at least 4 years away.
Oh, of course. I just like the idea of them saying, this is our field, and this is our $4 billion screen above the field.
Yeah, no, they said it would be, I think the entire stadium they're saying right now is priced at $1.5 billion. Yeah. That's not including the deconstruction of the Trop and all the other stuff that would need to happen for that to happen. So,
I mean, can't you just imagine, Ray, though, like winning a sweepstakes where you're laying down in center field, looking up and playing like Fortnite on a baseball field size screen? Can you imagine that?
Weren't they doing that at the Giants screen at 18, or is it still called 18?
Yeah, a lot of places are doing stuff like that. They're letting you play video games on these like TVs the size of, the state of Rhode Island. So technology, the future. Last one, and this will be a good segue for the geek segment. I have a Alexa at the house. We have some AI technology at the house.
Mhm.
And it's funny because like I have an alarm set every morning on there that it tells the kids it's time to go to school.
Mhm.
And the alarm sounds like the futuristic alarms from films from the 90s. And it's like this is like the future really is now.
Yeah.
And it's like at 40 years old, I'm like, oh my God, this is like really happening. Like, and this is what they're growing up in.
Yeah.
And they'll think this is old technology in 20 years or 30 years. But it's like I always like to take a moment and just just to feel good and be like, wow, this is pretty cool tech that we have. Like I can talk to this Alexa. Funny moment, Ray. Logan was doing his math homework the other night.
Mm.
He was getting a little frustrated. He kept asking me questions. And I said to him, just like this, I said, Logan, I'm going to have one of those dad moments right now. I said, when I was your age, I said, I think we just had a calculator.
Yeah.
And I said, you want to know how cool it is for you right now? Because he had asked me a question. He says, how cool? I said, Alexa, what is this answer to this math question? And of course, she gave me the correct answer.
Right.
And he kind of rolled his eyes like, Dad. I was like, we didn't have that. We didn't have,
Yeah.
you couldn't, I said, you couldn't ask the thin air a question and get an answer.
Yeah.
I can ask the thin air a question and get a mostly accurate, correct answer.
Yeah.
It's an amazing time to be alive, Ray.
Yeah.
It's also a horrible time to be alive. No, it's an amazing time to be alive.
It is. It's not like it happens all the time, right? Science fiction. Give it a few decades, it becomes science fact.
Look, the world is it's always in flux. There's always hell and heaven on earth all the time. It just depends on what you want to look at.
Yes.
Ray is hell, I am heaven. We
Yeah,
are
that's
we
fair.
are the proverbial angel and devil on your shoulder, my friends. That's why you listen to this podcast.
Yep. I'm telling you to burn things, and Lee is like, don't. So
well, I mean, it's more like burn, and I'm like, look at the pretty fire.
Yeah, there you go. So we were talking about playing video games on the big screens. A lot of video game news this week. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company comes out. This was a big deal because it's especially it feels like Nintendo is gearing up for their next console launch.
100%.
Pokemon Legends Z to A. It is the second game now in the Pokemon Legends series. Pokemon Legends Arceus did so well for them and was so beloved that we are thrilled to see that they're going back to that Legends line now. And maybe, I don't say they'll veer away from the mainline Pokemon, but I also wouldn't be opposed to it because Pokemon Legends Arceus felt like finally the gameplay leap forward that Pokemon has long needed. And now Z to A will continue this. It's set for they're saying early 2025, which of course now has everybody speculating that it will be a launch title for Switch 2, possibly along with Metroid Prime 4. Fingers crossed. Please, 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 please. But yeah, super excited to see the next major installment in Pokemon is a Pokemon Legends game, Pokemon Z to A. Lee, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, like Pokemon to me is a lot like Lego, and they've just gone up and gone down and figured out a way forward. But it's been such a mainstay in all of our lives now for 30 years, and to watch different generations play with it has been amazing. So, yeah, Ray, I'm like you're the expert on this, but I'm always amazed as a business person to watch brands like this figure things out.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that I mean, Pokemon could just stay the course and still make $1 bajillion every year, right? But it's great to see that, like you said, that they're continuing to build, to try to expand, and also not become irrelevant, right? They're seeing competitors, they're seeing what Power World is doing, they're seeing what like a lot of other games out there are trying to do. And like it's very easy also for a brand like that to rest on its laurels and then get lapped all of a sudden and get caught holding the bag.
You gotta innovate. Yeah, you gotta innovate.
So, and Nintendo has always been great about sometimes they'll swing and miss, but not being afraid to ever take swings. And obviously, Pokemon Company kind of also holds has that mentality.
Again,
as well.
you swing and miss, but you hit home runs by swinging. If you don't swing, you'll never hit a home run, and you'll never be up to bat. So they're using the sports metaphor here. So Nintendo's never been afraid to do that, and that's why they're one of the greatest companies in the history of humanity. To be honest with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. So this will be great. This will bring us back to the Kalos region from Pokemon X and Y is what folks are expecting. And should be good. Should be good there. Speaking of companies that will usually fail to innovate, though, EA, another one of our folks that we're putting in front of the bus this week. Gosh, it is just terrible news all around the gaming industry. In fact, right before we went on the air, Rooster Teeth, Warner Brothers announced they're pulling the plug on Rooster Teeth, who of course,
brutal.
They're content creators, but obviously very steeped around video games. But the big one is that EA has announced that the Mandalorian game that was rumored that we were talking about a few weeks ago pulled the plug. EA pulled the plug. They said, we're done with it. We're firing almost 700 people. We're moving away from licensed IP in general. And basically EA just admitting what a lot of us had kind of figured was that they were kind of in a bit of a panic mode. They've been having a problem in terms of turning a profit for a lot of time, for a while now. That's why people were talking about when Activision got bought that EA might also be on the chopping block or the seller's block. They did confirm, however, the next Jedi game will still be in production. So that's obviously the Cal Kestis series, right? You had Jedi Fallen Order, you had Jedi Survivor. They have confirmed Jedi 3. It doesn't have an official title yet, is still in development. But the other game that Respawn was working on, who of course makes the Jedi series, was a Mandalorian game, and that has had its plug pulled as they look to move away from licensed IP, which I do understand to a degree, because when you make a game, even when it's very, very profitable, like Star Wars, that's just another, you have to give a chunk to the licensee. And EA was like, we don't want to keep paying Disney, even though we have a contract to keep making games for them. And that we,
how long is that contract?
That's a great question. I think there's still several years on it, but I think that's why I think it's a specific number of games. And I think that's why EA is basically just going to try and ride this contract out. They'll finish the Jedi series.
So how long until Disney buys a gaming property?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that it's kind of surprising that, I mean, I get it. Disney realized a while ago that it is more profitable for them to,
right?
Because they had a gaming branch, but it's more profitable for them to just license out all the great stuff that they own.
Right.
But it doesn't, here's the thing: if nobody wants to make games of the stuff that you have licenses for anymore, which is what seems to be happening now with EA. And while there are other companies out there, as these companies fall, because again, also Sony laid off 900 people this week. They've completely shut down their VR studio, which basically means that PlayStation, at least internally, PlayStation VR is dead. As more and more of these places go belly up, the only other option for Disney, if they want to be in that gaming space, is probably, they're going to have to buy.
Yeah, to buy. I mean, look, here's the deal.
EA.
Well, and look, when we go back 30 years, LucasArts was making their own games. You know what I mean? So there's some precedent for this. I mean, when X-Wing, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, those were all made internally from LucasArts. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, like we're in the age of acquisition, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if Disney buys that. Keeping in mind too that Netflix has been testing gaming on their streaming service for years. That's coming.
They're constantly hiring for gaming. They want to get into the gaming space.
Right. It's a lot of money. So with Disney Plus, I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, you want people to come to Disney Plus, put Fallen Order, put Jedi Survivor on there. Give me a controller, right? Again, Ray, been saying this for years. Console gaming is dying. You do not need a console anymore. I could play the game on Disney Plus, right? Yeah. So, and again, in 3 years, 4 years, what do you think the streaming technology is going to be like?
Yeah.
I was talking with.
That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for streaming and for Wi-Fi and for stuff to just get faster and stronger.
I was having this conversation the other day about, and this is where you and I are unique in the time period we were born. I remember waiting hours, my friends, for a picture to appear on the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Hours for a photograph. Okay. We stream television seamlessly now for the most part. Again, for those of you that might be a little younger, you remember what it was like to wait for a movie to download. It would take a long time.
Yeah.
It is seamless for video right now, amongst other things. What do you think this looks like in 5 years? What do you think what it looks like when VR really is able to do that? Which it kind of is.
Yeah.
So you can see how the technology is evolving. You can see the players, Netflix is into it, Disney Plus. I have every reason to believe that every streaming service will have a gaming wing. And you will pay $100, whatever, a month for these things. I believe that. All right. If you want a game, and here's the thing, I'll never spend $100 a month on stream. Sure you will. If you get the games for free, sure you will. It's cheaper. It's more affordable. All right. So sure, it's like, sure you will. You know what I mean? But consoles are dying. I think so. I've said it. This was the last PlayStation. And I'll stand by that. I'll be really surprised if another one comes out. And if there is one more, that will be the last for sure.
I think that's what I think. I think you're going to get one more console generation. I think
Maybe
because Xbox is working on something. I do believe Sony has begun working on something. We know Nintendo. Obviously, their next thing comes out next year. So obviously,
again, Nintendo is an outlier.
Yes,
I
because Nintendo's portability is what gives them that strength now.
Listen, this is what I think. You want to go forward 5 years or 10 years? Let's go 10 years. All right. 10 years in the future, I believe that Game Pass, what that is today, will be the Xbox. You will buy a subscription to Microsoft Xbox, whatever they call it. Okay. Yep. And that's how you'll get your games. Nintendo will be the only handheld gaming thing left. Right.
Yes,
when I say
100%.
handheld, yeah, like you will still buy a Nintendo system of some sort.
Sure.
Okay. I believe that.
Yeah.
You will be able to probably play your Xbox games on your phone or on a device, but you will buy a Nintendo. Okay.
Yes. You can already play a lot of you can already some Xbox games you can play on your devices.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
In fact, actually, you want to see Nintendo really dominate? See if somehow Nintendo can combine the Switch with their phone.
I bet you. Well, and like I said, one of the things that makes Nintendo valuable is you still buy a Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you think about Xbox and PlayStation, you're really buying the games, and you're buying the system too. But you can, there's so much cross generation here.
Yes.
But I believe that Xbox or Microsoft will have a broad Game Pass type offering, and I believe Sony, if they're around, Sony will be a game developer, and that's it. All right. Yeah. If that. All right. So that's the future to me of gaming. And then I haven't even got into VR yet, because I think in 10 years, VR will actually be the main way to do it.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. VR for the first time. Again, the game industry made $181 billion last year. For the first time ever, VR made up $5 of that billion. Yeah. Right? They crossed the $5 billion mark, and it's only going up. Yeah. It's only going up. It's only taking a bigger slice of that pie as time goes on. So, which is why, again, it's only more surprising and sad that Sony again shut down their internal VR studio. Not to say folks won't still make games for PSVR 2, but they laid off 900 this week. As now the toll is now 19,000 gaming jobs lost in the last 14 months. Other parts of that, Saber, their parent company, the Embracer Group, who had basically really kind of bought up every big developer in Europe, from THQ Nordic to Saber, amongst others. For those who don't know, Embracer was basically kind of looking to have a kind of a merger with a Saudi group about a year ago now for about $2 billion. I'll say this. It was good that the deal fell through, because screw the Saudis. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So that fell through. But that meant that the money that Embracer was hoping for didn't come through. They had a lot of debt they had to pay. And now a lot of the stuff they've acquired over the last few years, they've begun selling. They bought Saber for $525 million, I believe, and they sold them this week at a loss for $500 million to a private firm. Again, more details probably coming on that down the line, but that's a big deal, because they also say that Gearbox, the folks behind Borderlands, who they bought a couple of years ago, is probably next on their chopping block for studios they're going to sell. Again, not shut down, sell, because they have a lot of debt they now need to pay off, that they accrued over the last few years, and they need to pay off quickly. So that's interesting. So at least, again, not shutting down, fortunately, but this is a big deal, because Embracer, who is kind of like, again, they are probably the largest third party now in Europe, is quickly, it's breaking apart. It's falling apart. And this was a big deal for that. I mean, Lee, do you have any thoughts on this kind of a deal, like for a company to sell a part of themselves at a loss for what they acquired it for, like this?
I mean, it's tough to make decisions like that, but to me, that means that they don't think that they can make any money, so they're cutting and running, right? So, it's market trends. Like, a lot of this is post-COVID correction.
Yes.
Which is why
some of it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's so many people are losing jobs now because what did you do when you were at home during the pandemic,
Right.
right? It's just people aren't playing like they used to. So,
No, definitely a portion of the jobs lost
yeah,
is COVID correction. But I also
for
need
sure.
to put, and you
Yeah.
mentioned like there's also a lot of jackass CEOs out
Oh,
there
I
who are putting
100%
profits
agree.
ahead of people as well. So,
100% agree with that. But this whole thing is a correction of some sort.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes. But the trend is telling these guys to sell and fire and save money for some reason. I think people are also expecting a market crash. I mean, these are why things like this happen. These decisions, right?
Yeah, I don't think the gaming market might be going into a little bit of a recession, but I don't think it's going to be a crash. Right?
Oh no, I meant like a actual market crash, not just
No.
the gaming market. Like
Yeah.
they've been threatening for a massive market crash for a while.
Yes, and it never seems to happen. Knock on wood.
Yeah. No, I hope it doesn't happen. All right.
Yeah, no.
But if
I
it
think you'd have
does,
to be,
invest.
I think you'd have to be insane to root for a market crash. I think you'd have to be insane.
Some people, well, a lot of big money people do because that's when they put all their money into the market. And that's why I just said if it does crash, invest.
Right.
But I don't want that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see, man. Like the gaming industry is not in a very good place right now. It's very volatile. It's upsetting for me to watch that industry fire so many good people.
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation this again on another episode, but it's time for the people in that industry to unionize. I mean, I'm not usually for unions. Yeah, I'm not usually pro union, but this is when you need a union for stuff like this. This is when unions actually pay off.
Yes, I am more pro union, but definitely the gaming industry. I've been saying it for years. The gaming industry has needed a union.
Totally needs one here because you're being dismantled.
But that's the thing. Is like people are like, there's no protections for people.
Nothing.
There's no competitive wage balancing. Like there's no. This is when you all need to band together,
and you're
because there's still a whole lot of people out there who are still employed,
right?
And you need to go on strike. You need to walk away. You need to take the power back. Yeah, like I'm sorry. This is just how it works.
It is 100% time for sure.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, it is what it is. I mean, look, and you're seeing what's happening with Toys for Bob. Toys for Bob was part of Activision. They made the Skylanders series for a while.
Right.
They're very, very much. They unfortunately had to lay off some people after the Microsoft acquisition. And Toys for Bob, and you don't see this very often. You saw Bungie did it a while ago when they left Microsoft. And whatnot, and whatnot. They gave Microsoft Halo, but they got their independence. Toys for Bob similarly doing the same. I think Activision is retaining Skylanders, and Toys for Bob has gone independent. They are no longer owned by Microsoft or Activision. This week they have bought their independence. Good for them. So the folks remaining at that studio now have a real chance to control their own destiny in a lot of ways. They're not at the whims of a major publisher or whatnot. So, but again, they're the exception, not the rule for a lot of these studios. So, but that was one good thing that happened this week. Good for them. And again, unionize.
It's time.
Yeah, it's absolutely time. You know what has a really good union? Hollywood, actually. SAG-AFTRA, the writers, the directors, producers, they're all unionized. As we move down to movie news, some fun movie news though this week. There's going to be a Naked Gun reboot. Of course, Leslie Nielsen, the infamous, originally a dramatic actor, and then everybody found out he's really, really funny. Everybody is. He was hysterical, and they made 3 films. The Naked Gun trilogy was hysterical. It is a classic of our childhood. It made Reggie Jackson try to kill the Queen.
I must kill the Queen.
Yeah. It just was.
I must kill the Queen.
Yeah. So
can't do it now. Can't do it now.
No, that's true. That would be killed the king.
Yes.
Yeah. So, although, well, he's not doing well anyway. But
no, well, it'll still be another king after him. So
that is true.
God save the king.
Yeah. But the rumor is kind of similarly, Liam Neeson, who of course is a dramatic actor and an action movie actor, is said to be starring in a Naked Gun reboot that will be produced by Seth MacFarlane, a Family Guy fame.
It's beautiful, all of it. So first off, Naked Gun is a very rebootable franchise. I rarely say that, but this is one that, you could reboot that. That would make a lot of sense. Liam Neeson has proven through A Million Ways to Die in the West, his little cameo in Ted, which was very Naked Gun-esque when he's trying to buy the child cereal, the tricks.
Yeah.
Amazing scene. This is a perfect casting, and Seth MacFarlane is the perfect producer, director, wherever you want to put him.
Yeah.
I'm all for this. And Liam Neeson is, if this might be a swan song in cinema, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
This is how our kids will remember Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's
because he has a particular set of skills.
Well, and that's the thing is that Leslie Nielsen, like for our generation, he was a comedic actor. Like we don't his prime of his career was black and white dramas.
Right.
But we know him as the guy from Naked Gun and Dracula, Dead and Loving It, and all these like funny these spoofs and whatnot. You know,
yeah, he was great, Mr. Magoo.
Well, exactly, right? Like we know him from, and that's the thing, and like we'll know Liam Neeson as this amazing dramatic actor and this action movie star and all this. But to your point, Logan might know Liam Neeson now more as the Naked Gun guy because because he's getting to that age where the Naked Gun is going to be perfect for him.
Right. Well, when I show him those really old prequel trilogy Star Wars films where he's Qui-Gon Jinn from 20 plus years ago, it's so weird to say that, but it's true. The prequels are about as old now as they're actually older than the original films were for us, which is kind of scary. But anyway, look, Liam Neeson, perfect casting, just perfect casting for this. This is one you can look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. One last movie rumor. Well, that's more concrete. That sounds like it is happening. This is more on the rumor list, but it is the Christensen Sans. That's what I'm calling it, the Christensen Sans. Because there's rumors that we talked about this before, there's going to be Shadow the Hedgehog in the new Sonic movie coming out in December. And now, supposedly, he is on the short list to play the Silver Surfer in the MCU. I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, his return to Star Wars has been very well received and beloved. Obviously, Disney frequently will have people cross-populate these massive franchises and whatnot. Lee, I think this would actually be a really good casting.
I don't like Galactus.
I think the Silver Surfer's kind of a one-note character in a lot of ways.
He would be very fine with that. Again, it depends on the script, as always, right? Sure. We've seen now that Christensen can act fine if he has a good script.
He's a good actor. He is.
He's not a bad actor. Ray. I'm going to rib you again that you must watch Ahsoka, and you must see him in Ahsoka. Have you seen that scene at least? Do you know?
No, I kind of just fell off after episode 3, and I was just
listen, if anything, just go YouTube that. Just watch that one episode. You don't even need too much context. I'm not going to lie to you. Mm-hmm. Just you got to watch the episode that he's in because that may be the best acting he's ever done. It's so well done and so subtle. And I don't think people understand how hard it is. Again, he has to be subtle because of the way the character was written originally.
Right.
But now he has 7-8 seasons of Clone Wars that he has to adhere to.
Right.
And he taps on that. Ray, you must watch that episode. I'm going to say that it's mandatory before next week. Just the one episode. You don't even have to watch the rest of Ahsoka if you don't want to.
All right, I'll try.
You will do this for me, Ray. Sorry, let me use my hand gesture. You will do this for me.
I don't know.
Trust me, you will. I believe in you. Silver Surfer makes a lot of sense for Hayden Christensen. Not exactly a super demanding role in terms of what needs to be done, especially if it's voice acting. So perfect casting. Yeah,
and I don't think it'll be a lot of stunt work or anything like that either. So, I mean, but even if so, he'll have stuntmen and stuff.
You will watch Ahsoka.
I'll think about it.
You will watch that episode. I will send it to you. It's very good.
Yeah, but I think this would be a lot of fun. Obviously, a lot of rumors are flying around the MCU right now with X-Men 97 dropping in just a couple of weeks.
Very ready for that. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. We got a big year ahead. We got Deadpool. We got X-Men 97. We've got Ghostbusters in a couple of weeks.
That's going to be good. Very quietly coming up, and like they're just everyone's been real quiet about these big things that are about to happen. That's weird. Except for us here at Geeks Who Like Sports, we're loud. We're proud.
Yes, no, absolutely. The end of March is going to be huge.
Yeah,
like we've got like big
geek
video
times
games
are here
coming out.
again, my friends.
Yes, we big video games, highly anticipated games like Rise of the Ronin dropping. We've got Ghostbusters. We've got X-Men '97. It is a great time to be a geek.
Not to be confused with nerds.
Right.
Nerds are in textbooks. We're in the movie theaters.
That's correct.
Okay.
So
nerds are studying biology. We're playing video games.
Yes.
Nerds will make much more money and be much more successful about changing the world. Geeks will not.
Yes.
But we'll be happy.
We'll be happy.
We'll be
happy. Poor but happy.
There you go. Yes.
Or we're poor because we're spending our money on stuff like my Ghostbusters pack there behind me, and
I would not have it any other way, my friend.
Yes. So I'm supposed to. I bought the new Hasbro trap. I'm supposed to be getting that soon.
Ooh. Okay. Well, we'll see that soon.
Yeah,
Breaking news: geeks are happy people. It's on the screen, so it must be true.
Well,
shiny, happy people that are geeks. That's REM. That's 30 years old. They gotta stop.
We're happy except for when we're on the internet, and then we're angry at everybody. Yes, exactly. Yes, if we're on Twitter, we're not necessarily happy.
No. You mean X?
Well, yeah, whatever.
Great episode. This was fun.
Yes,
make sure, again, teaser mashup this week. We're doing another Pokemon sports mashup. The last time we did this, it was legendary. It actually hasn't left for a while. We still talk about it. Yeah. Legendary Pokemon sports. All of that works together. Get ready for the mashup coming out this Saturday. Or if it's after Saturday, it's already out. You should go listen to it.
Yes, that's right. You should go check that out. So, but until next time, until that mashup, we really appreciate everybody who tuned in as always. Don't forget, comment, like, follow, subscribe, leave 5-star reviews on wherever you're listening. It helps us. We really appreciate it. It always means a lot. And if you got to this point of the episode, we really, really appreciate it.
100%.
Actually, we have pretty good retention. People actually like listening to us.
People listen to us every week. They're listening to this. We appreciate all of you. People catching up. I just talked to our friend out in England, Matt Cavalieri. Been going through a lot. Still listens to the show.
I hope Matt's doing well.
Casey, our big fan, still listens to this show.
I hope Casey's doing well.
He's good. Keep it up. Follow us, Geeks Who Like Sports on Facebook, both the page and the group. The group is where the conversation continues, and obviously we're on Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere else. GWLS Podcast.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling conversations happening in the Facebook group lately.
Yes, and that will continue.
Yes, yeah, we'll get
into
more
of that. Smell what Ray and Lee are cooking.
Yes, as we are also on the road to WrestleMania again, which is in Philadelphia this year. So WrestleMania XL. Should be
a good show, Ray.
That's the show. And that should be a good show. This was a good show.
This was a great show.
For Lee, I'm Ray. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Geeks Who Like Sports.